So for everyone that's at home, thank you for watching. We got our next speaker coming up, so we hope you'll stay tuned and stay with us. And the live streaming will actually be archived later, so if you missed something, you want to watch it again, you'll be able to do that. I want to let everybody know at home and in the room that I gave you the wrong email address for our e-print contest. It's actually SheStreams4 at hpeprint.com. Don't forget to stop by the Build-A-Bear booth and do your little video and get your gift card from them and see what's there and talk about friendship, since Ted's taking back friends. He'll probably, I'm sure, talk about that in his video. But he's got a good point. One of the priests at my church once said, like, you know, people think that, oh yeah, I talked to him just last week, and he's like, this is not talking, you know. The definition of friendship has clearly changed. It's funny, I said to my husband, I'm like, come to SheStreams and I'll introduce you to all my friends, you know. He's like, yeah, I don't even know your friends, because all of my friends live somewhere else. But anyhow, speaking of friends, I was so excited to have Jennifer Labit agree to be our next speaker because, as many of you might know, I would say if I had to tell someone what my personal mantra is, it's about empowering moms, and that is empowering them with knowledge, with the tools to build their businesses, and I love to meet moms who are successful in taking an idea and really running with it and building a big company that does have like brick and mortar and online and like product that's being sold around the world. And Jennifer is just one of those moms. I'm going to make her also show you, because just so you all don't think I'm lying to you, the power of this HPE printer. She literally sat in the back of the room and she brought her children to the beach. They live in St. Louis. They don't get to see the beach very often. I think it was one of her sons said it was the second time in his life that he saw the ocean. The first time was when he was 9 months old. And she printed her beach pictures at the HPE printer. And when you see how beautiful they are, she even said, I got to get one of these. And I'm like, I'm telling you, you will have multiple ones. My kids, this is what they do with their e-printers, or my e-printer. They, like, I'll be at the house and they're in school, and I suddenly like see like current events. You know how your kids have current events that they have to like print out and take back to school as an assignment? They sit in class and do their homework, send it to the e-printer, and when they get home, they just pick it off the printer and they're like, finish that already. And so it's kind of funny. I guess there's all sorts of applications for them. So anyways, I want to introduce Jennifer. Jennifer has made her mark on the world by coming up with an idea, developing it, marketing it, producing it, and she produces new diapering products for the baby industry. Her company, Cotton Babies, developed out of a little bit of $100 investment. Like most women, we invest our own money. Only 2% of all investment capital ever comes to a mom for her business. She operates a retail outlet in St. Louis, Missouri, and several other stores that are opening soon. She created bumGenius, which is a one-size reusable diaper, a product now distributed on 5 continents. And I mean, this literally, and oh, by the way, her oldest child is like 9 years old. So she was doing this with 3 kids, you know, less than 6 years old, and $100 in her pocket to think about it. And I think she even told me the other day that she's getting an honorary degree. And I was like, what do you mean? You like didn't have a college degree already? Like most moms that I know that are entrepreneurs and who are extremely successful, you know, they have took their pre-child talents and applied them into what they're doing now, and that wasn't the case. She was just a mom in St. Louis that thought like there was a better way to diaper your baby, and now she runs this huge company. You can follow her on Twitter at Jennifer Labit. That's Jennifer Labit. And her website is cottonbabies.com. And without further ado, I'm delighted that her children are here to just be able to watch how amazing their mom is in action. And because let me tell you, as someone who has 2 children going off to college this year, and someone who missed a lot of muffins for moms at my particular school, let me tell you, the lessons that your children watch by watching you as a businesswoman, they surpass being there for muffins for mom, believe me. You know, just think, Julie, okay, so Julie, raise your hand. So Julie and I knew each other when we were in our 20s. I have to tell you this really quick, okay? So what, in about an hour, Julie is doing all of the Chick-fil-A burgers in our children's class, and I'm doing all the sodas, or the drinks. And look where we are right now, okay? So we're like the 2 working moms in our class, and we're doing lunch in our kids' classroom, but somehow we're pulling it off today. And we're here. And Jennifer is one of those women who balance it all, because I know she's on a plane as much as I am. So welcome, Jennifer, to SheStreams.
Thanks, Maria. I don't think I travel quite as much as she does, but I did manage to get to an elite status with Southwest Airlines last year in 3 months. So it was intense and crazy. And I am working my tail off for that degree. It's not an honorary degree, but I was accepted into Washington University in St. Louis to get my master's degree without an undergraduate degree, which was an incredible honor, and I'm really proud to be a part of that community there. It's a neat opportunity, and considering the background that I have, necessary to help me take our company into what's next for us. So in the back of the room, just in case you hear anybody little, you'll see my husband and my 3 children. They're just kind of sitting on the floor back there. So this is Jimmy and Andrew and Oscar and Elsie, and I love them very much. I don't normally get to travel with my family, so this is really exciting. As a mom who travels way too much, I know Maria understands, and I know a few of you do too. It's just exciting to be able to have my kids with me to snuggle with at night, and we get to go to the beach. And I actually Facebooked about this earlier this week. I have a public fan page at facebook.com/Jenn Labit, and I mentioned to my people there that you don't ever tell a 3-year-old that you're going to the beach 5 days before you go to the beach. Oh my, it's like she's awake, 12 hours a day, right, 15 hours a day, and she has not stopped talking about anything but the beach. And it's enough to make a mom crazy. So we're here to talk about what's next in terms of, social media and how moms engage with with the people that are following them, whether you're in business and you're selling a product that people are consuming, or you're in social media and you're working to build a crowd of people who are following you, attaching themselves to a particular cause or a particular brand or a particular product. So what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about how Cotton Babies is envisioning the future of what is our company, and how I'm envisioning the future of what I think is business. So the title of my presentation is actually Rethinking Capitalism. I think that there are some major changes coming in the way consumers approach business and approach their buying decisions and approach the people that they choose to engage with, both online and in person. And I don't believe that this is being talked about enough, and I wanted to bring it to your attention and the attention of those who are watching us online. When Maria contacted me to speak here, I reached out to her and said, so what is it exactly that we want to talk about? And so she's looking at what's coming next for the technology world and moms. So when I went to start looking at my presentation, I wanted to make sure that I was presenting to you something that is core to what we do. So what you see up there in that picture is actually not a bumGenius diaper. How many people have heard of bumGenius or Cotton Babies? Can you raise your hand, please? Do I have any bumGenius users in the room? Yay! Thank you, guys. Thanks for using our brand. We picked this picture because this is actually a product called Econobum. And while bumGenius is the #1 selling cloth diaper in North America, and Flip is our hybrid system, and it's doing extremely well as well, Econobum was created because I felt like as a business owner, I had to be able to reach out to the people who were where I was when I started my company. We define, this isn't the essence of capitalism, this is the essence of what I think is next for business, and it's social responsibility. It's reaching out to people who are maybe not the same as you, maybe they're different than you, maybe they have a different income bracket, maybe they have different priorities, maybe they have a different political background, but somehow it's reaching out to people who are in a different situation. So usually we define capitalism as using business for profit. I like to think of it as capitalism and defining it as a currency that we're trading for gain. So you could apply that in your world as building your social community around you. You could define that as selling product and using money to gain wealth for your business. It could be industry leadership for business owners. It could be reputational power for people who are engaged in social endeavors. So everybody in this room is engaged in some way in increasing your reputational authority. You go out and you're gaining a crowd, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your brand or for your business. This is a form of capitalism. There are other people in this room who are here primarily because they're interested in increasing the amount of income that's coming into their business. So money is the primary form of capitalism that we're all familiar with. But I think at our core, most of us have an awareness that we need to engage with a purpose for what we're doing. So how many people in this room are here for a cause? Your blog or your Twitter account or something is about something bigger than yourself. Can I hear some reasons for those blogs?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Audra Conklin, and I'm the founder of Modern Mermaid's Eco Products. I don't blog. I don't tweet. I pay somebody $1 a day to Facebook. So I'm here because I have to. I have to learn. I do have a mission. It is way beyond me, and it's about the health of women. It's about what we use in our homes and how we need to make changes. So everybody, please read Chrissy's book, because it goes hand in hand with what I do. But I know that you had said who is blogging, who is doing, but I am the antithesis of that, and I am here to learn. So thank you all for helping me to learn and hopefully moving my mission forth, which again is about all of us.
Welcome, welcome. Tell me your name and your cause.
My name's Monica Rogers, and my cause is to inspire women to share with each other more consciously through the Revelation Project. And my belief is that we all have a story to tell that's extremely valuable to each other as women, and that the conversation is much more important and empowering than what you're wearing or who's doing what in the celebrity world. So really it's about looking at each one of us as our own celebrity, and like you only get one time around. You know, this is my movie, my life. You know, I want to share and include the people who are life-giving to me, and so again we do that through a photo and social media process, and it's really about empowering women to speak their truth and be exactly who they are, because everybody else is taken.
Thank you. And just one more.
Hi everybody. My name is Jennifer Perea. I'm the author of the children's book, Mommy and Daddy Work to Make Some Dough. And so much of it, which I came all about, honestly, it was my daughter was asking, why are you dropping us off at school? Why can't you stay home and play with us all day? And I went out searching for a book, and I really, honestly, I couldn't find a kid's book out there that addressed those issues. Our kids are much more savvy these days than we were. And so to be able to help answer those questions in simple terms that food and clothes and houses aren't free and they cost lots of money, so now do you see? And so it just goes into that whole realm of it. But around that, I came to learn that, you know, there are a lot of other issues that working moms really honestly face that we don't always get as much talk about. And so to be able to talk about the issues that moms face in general, not engaging in the mommy wars of work at home mom, stay at home mom, work from home mom, all this kind of stuff, but focusing and blogging and writing about how can we just as moms in general get to that goal of what we're looking to achieve, which are well-adjusted, kind people, and hoping that our children can grow up to be the same. That's what I do.
So good. Thank you. So I'm going to briefly share a little bit about our story. Maria mentioned that we started with nothing. We started with $100. My husband and I were programmers. We lost our jobs when the tech stocks crashed. We went from, as a family, a six-figure income down to my husband making just not enough at Kinko's. He was working as a copier, or at Kinko's you'd walk in and he was the guy that would go make your copies for you. And he's highly underemployed. He's incredibly intelligent and talented. And as a wife, it was difficult for me to watch my husband go to work in those circumstances. But at the time, there were no tech jobs, right? You couldn't get a job, and if you did, you were really lucky. If there was one opening, there was a couple hundred applications. Out of all of our friends that were programmers, only one or two of them actually had jobs by the time this whole thing had settled out. It was a nightmare for our family, and we ended up selling our home. We had just bought a car. We ended up moving in with my in-laws for a few months before we finally found a little tiny apartment back in St. Louis. We had to move home. It was just a real time of adjustment, and I also was pregnant. I had found out I was pregnant 2 days after we had found out that I was losing the second job that we had managed to get during this whole process. And so Andrew was on the way, and we realized that we had to figure out what we were going to do. It took a while to have all that come together. Andrew was born in June of 2002. We went to Chicago to visit my parents. They lived not too far from downtown Chicago, and I was walking down Michigan Avenue with Andrew in a sling. And I had a bunch of women stop me and ask me what he was in. They wanted whatever it was that I had him in. At that point in time, slings were novelty. Most people hadn't seen babies in them, and for some reason, this seemed to trip the triggers of a bunch of ladies on that street. And I realized that had I been carrying slings in my diaper bag that day, I could have sold at least 10. So we're driving home, and I asked my husband if I could spend this $100 that we had in a bank account that we had attached to PayPal on slings from MyAwrap, was the vendor that I wanted to buy from, and the minimum order was only 6 slings, and he told me I could. So I got a bunch of friends to go in with me on an order, and I placed my first order with MyAwrap with that $100. At that point in time, our family was living on $30 a week for groceries and a WIC check. That doesn't go very far. Andrew was 8 weeks old. You can't buy both diapers and food on that budget. It doesn't work. Disposable diapers are, what, 20 bucks a package. And that left $10 to buy groceries, which it just doesn't work. I don't care how good you are at wringing meals out of a turkey. You can't do it for a whole week. So we sold the slings. I was working as a doula, helping moms have babies. My clients would buy those slings from me. After a while, I figured out that those ladies were also interested in cloth diapers. And so I went back to my husband. I said, honey, can I buy some pre-folds and diaper covers and snappies? I want to sell these to these ladies. And he finally agreed. But for some reason, the snappy was the sticking point for our family. And the snappy at that point in time was $1 wholesale, sold for $1.99 retail. And I had to buy 72 of them to start a wholesale account with this company. And he just could not understand how we could possibly sell 72 snappies. Eventually, he finally said it was okay, and we ended up starting to retail those on eBay at full retail, and they actually were our #1 selling item, these silly little $2 items. So that's how Cotton Babies got started. It was real small, real simple. It was on a bookshelf in my living room. Gradually, it moved into a closet in one of our bedrooms. We ended up moving into a home. We finally were able to buy a small home. It overtook the master bedroom in that home. My husband and I moved into one of the smaller bedrooms, and then it flowed out of the master bedroom into the garage. We finally realized, okay, we need a bigger house. This isn't going to work. We bought a house that had a basement. We put the business in the basement. It lasted 6 weeks. Our insurance company contacted us 2 weeks after we moved in and said, you have 30 days to move your business out of your home because you have a baby business, and we won't insure your house if you have a baby business. Now, at that point in time, I was pregnant with our second child. We moved Cotton Babies on July 10th of 2005. Oscar was born on July 22nd of 2005. I literally went into, there he is. He's got his hands up in the back. Sorry, honey. So I went into labor with him shipping orders with the small staff that we had at that time, and it was just intense. Not too long later, we realized that we needed to step out of just buying product at wholesale, and we needed to start manufacturing product. We needed something that, as a company, we could depend on for revenue. You can't always depend on your suppliers to be able to service your needs as a retailer. And stepping out into something that was ours was core to what we felt like would be the future of our company. So we had some ideas that we wanted to capitalize on, and so out of that time came bumGenius. And bumGenius is today the #1 selling cloth diaper in North America. It is sold all over the world. We have over 1,000 independent juvenile retailers who carry the product in the United States, and then it's carried by Bye Bye Baby in line nationwide, and it's also sold in a lot of the big box .coms. Interestingly, though, even though the .coms, the big box .coms carry the product, some of our biggest retailers are actually the independent juveniles who are moms just like you, and they are at home shipping diapers out of their garage, and they sell just an amazing, amazing number of diapers. So our business is mom-grown, mom-fueled, and today it's taking some steps into the mainstream world, which is a huge step for cloth diapers. Our culture as a whole doesn't identify well with cloth diapers because the first thing that people think of is buckets of poopy water, pre-folds, and plastic pants. Anybody identify? Yeah. So we took diapers and we made them work like disposables. You just wash them. You save over $1,500 compared to the cost of disposable diapers. Disposables run, you'll see different numbers at various places, but they run about $2,000 between birth and age 2, not counting the cost of pull-ups, which are outrageously expensive. Most kids don't potty train until sometime between 2 and 3. 97% of kids are potty trained by age 3. But the cost of diapers in a culture where we have growing unemployment, we have increasing issues with people being able to get jobs. I think I read a statistic that said that over 40% of college graduates graduate without a job today, which is it's just a startling statistic, and it means that those young people, as they start their own families, are going to be facing some really interesting economics for their family. How do you provide for a baby when the job market seems to be contracting and not growing? So bumGenius was our first product. Not too long later, we introduced a product called Flip, which is a hybrid diapering system. Parents can use this stay-dry inserts that we primarily recommend for daytime, organic inserts, which we primarily recommend for overnight use, and then disposable inserts. We found that a lot of our customers were actually switching to disposables when they went on trips. So we wanted to have a product that would keep our customers in our product even when they were traveling. And we found that overwhelmingly that's exactly how this product is being used. and the customers come home and their baby hasn't leaked out of their diaper in the airport, which in my opinion is one of the worst places to have a diaper explosion. Have you guys ever had a baby explode in the middle of an airport, or worse, in your baby carrier in the middle of an airport? So Flip solves that problem because it keeps the elastic actually keeps everything inside where it belongs. I'll just leave it at that. It's wonderful. Get it if you have one. Then we introduced Econobum. Now, Econobum is an entry-level product. That box that you see up there holds 12 diaper changes, 12 pre-folds, 3 one-size diaper covers, and a wet bag. It retails for $49.95, and the product is designed to be something that it could be given as a baby shower gift. It could be given just as something that you might be able to go out and pick up for your neighbor who just had a baby. But we wanted to keep the price point reachable. So as the business has grown, it's created some really interesting challenges for us. Like I said, we started on a bookshelf. We moved into a basement. Then, today we're in retail space. We've got about 20,000 square feet of warehouse space in South St. Louis County. We actually have 3 open, functioning brick and mortar retail stores. Our wholesale team has grown enormously. Our pick and pack fulfillment team for our retail side of life is just it's amazing to see what happens when you actually create a product that people are interested in and consumers are realizing is an important part of the next chapter of what is apparent in the United States. So this is Cotton Babies in Vancouver, Washington. This store opened about 1.5 years ago, and we're really proud of this particular store. It ended up, we launched a new logo, and the inside of the store is beautiful, and it was a big step for us to open a store that was so far away from where our home base is in St. Louis. So as it got bigger and bigger and bigger, I realized that I wasn't content with just simply growing a company. I mean, we can talk about how big it got for the next 2 hours and all the issues that we ran into and challenges that we faced, but as a business person, I realized that I had to step away from the desire to grow a company the way that shareholders would expect a company to be grown and start making sure that that company was achieving the goals that I as a person was interested in achieving. So I had a family. I had 3 kids. Elsie was born. Elsie was our little surprise. I thought we were done, and surprised we weren't. I had personal goals that I wanted to reach when I was in high school. My focus was on being a missionary. I wanted to go to Africa, and I was going to be a nurse, and I was going to spend the rest of my life doing something over there and helping people that needed help. And I realized that I wasn't achieving any of my personal goals. Cotton Babies was an accident. I didn't set out to have a business. I didn't set out to grow a business. And no, not many people say that. My business wasn't an accident. But for us, it was. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, what in the world am I going to do with this thing that we've created? Apparently, I'm good at it, or it wouldn't be what it is. But wow, we've got to be able to do something cool with what it is that we've made. So engaging with whatever it was we were going to engage with as far as purpose became core to fulfilling me. Because as a business person, if you're not fulfilling you and your core values and the things that are most important to you, you're not going to be content with what you're doing. You will not have achieved your goals. And I'm going to mention this issue of legacy. Everybody here is only here for a set point in history, right? We might get 100 years if we're lucky. What are you leaving? Is it just a business that you've grown? Is it just the job that you've held? Is it your Twitter feed? Is it your Facebook feed? I mean, these are heavy questions, but these are things that as business people and as individuals we have to consider. So I had to answer the issue of now what? I mean, it was just such a heavy thing for me. I wasn't content to continue to do what we were doing. So let's go back to this topic of capitalism. Capitalism, according to Google, is defined as an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit. When you go into finance class, the finance instructor will say, your purpose as a business is to increase shareholder wealth. Anybody relate to that as a driving goal? How many business owners do we have in the room? And how many people do we have in the room who work for somebody else? So it's split 50-50. So with capitalism, there's a big argument right now in our culture. We have a government that is not able to take care of all of the needy people in our culture, right? And we have businesses who seem to be completely focused on this idea of creating shareholder wealth. And it seems to be to the exclusion of some of the people who need our help the most. So business owners, I don't believe, have stepped up adequately to take care of the families who actually consume our goods and services. We profit, we hire, we consume, we advertise, and we continue to profit, we hire, consume, we advertise. It's this vicious circle that keeps spinning bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you're at the top of it, you're the CEO of this company, you, especially for public firms, right, their job is to make sure that that share value goes up and up and up and up and up. If you hold any stocks in the stock market, the only thing that you realize out of those stocks is your dividends or when you sell those stocks. So you want those stocks to increase in value. Companies have not yet figured out how to do what they're doing and be able to help our culture at the same time. So we're looking up to our government saying, come on, we've got to do more to help these people, and the government saying we don't have enough money. How do we help all these people? And I'm saying that as business owners, we have a responsibility to step up and do what it is that the government isn't actually able to do. And interestingly enough, our shareholders, our consumers, are saying the exact same thing. There's an article that was published in the Harvard Business Review about how social responsibility matters, and it was written by Susan McPherson. She said that employees who help others are happier. If you send your staff out to do a volunteer project, they're realizing something that is intangible, but it makes them as an individual happier, just like you feel better when you're giving something to your neighbor. Your neighbor had a baby, you take them a meal, you feel good about taking them a meal. The same thing applies to your staff. Cause marketing gives your business legitimacy. Your shareholders, your consumers are looking for that legitimacy. If it's all about you and only about you and only about your product, and it's not about the people who are consuming the product, people start to question what your motives are. Is it just simply to extract something out of their wallet? And I would propose that consumers are not going to be willing to continue to accept that far into the future. Her article, Susan's article, actually said that they're actually skeptical of businesses and individuals who are not reaching out. And interestingly, the investors care. I was surprised to, as I dove into this research, I mean, there's been research done for years and years and years, and it took them a while to finally decide, yes, this makes economic sense. It doesn't just make moral sense, it makes economic sense. The businesses who are reaching out in some critical way are actually producing more revenue and more profit than businesses who are not. So we see this cycle that we see businesses in. They're helping others, but they're doing it only once it's convenient and only once time allows. And they spend their time on more expensive new stuff to gain more consumer satisfaction. So I'm going to propose that we have it backwards. And I want to read this to you from Polly LeVar, also published in the Harvard Business Review. It's time to radically revise the deeply etched beliefs about what business is for, whose interest it serves, and how it creates value. We need a new form of capitalism for the 21st century, one dedicated to the promotion of greater well-being, rather than the single-minded pursuit of growth and profits, one that doesn't sacrifice the future for the near term, one with an appropriate regard for every stakeholder, and one that holds leaders accountable for all of the consequences of their actions. In other words, we need a capitalism that is profoundly principled, fundamentally patient, and socially accountable. Now, Harvard graduates, thank you. Yeah. Harvard graduates some of the most respected business people in the nation. It's interesting to me that they've got so many articles on their website about this issue of social responsibility. It's so core. It's so core to what's next. They're actually running a contest right now. If you go to their Harvard Business Network blog, there is an article called Reimagining Capitalism, something that those of you who are interested in this subject would actually be interested in reading. There's a contest where you can write a proposal that talks about what you think reimagining capitalism might look like. There's already been some really fascinating entries as people start to think about how to do this. So back to diapers for a minute. We realized a few years into this, after our friends at Huggies published a study called Every Little Bottom, that 1 out of 3 parents was choosing between diapers and something essential like food, utilities, or childcare. So parents who are buying diapers, 1 out of 3 people who picks up a package off that shelf is making a decision between that package of diapers and do I buy enough food for my kids? That package of diapers and do I pay my utility bills? That package of diapers and does my baby get to go to childcare this week so I can go to work to make sure we have money to buy groceries for next week? That's a huge choice. Then that study went on to show that 1 out of 20 disposable diapers is actually reused. That means that that mom has wiped the diaper out and put it back on her baby, or she has air dried that diaper and she has put it back on her baby. 1 out of 20 disposable diapers. That is incredible. It's an incredible statistic. And as a cloth diaper business, we know that we have a product that is reusable, that can actually help these families, whether they have a washer and dryer or not. Everybody has a bucket, right? Or a sink that you can wash diapers in. You don't have to reuse your disposable diapers in a way that compromises your baby's health. So we actually started a project that we're calling Share the Love. And cloth diapers have this fascinating subculture where people take their used diapers after their baby's done with them and they sell them. And there's a couple of websites that they sell them through. The community around this is growing like crazy because cloth diapers can be expensive to start with. So the moms are going out and making their money back off of the diapers that they bought originally. There's a whole collector's world that happens around artisan diapers. I have a few of those, I'm embarrassed to say, where the actual cover that I bought originally sold on eBay for over $400. Now, I didn't spend $400 on it. I watched it sell for $400 and wished it was mine. I only paid $70 for it, but I was really, really, really excited to have this beautiful, I mean, the woman who sewed it had put these hyacinth flowers and really intricate details. And then diapers themselves, they'll take these diapers and they turn them into, I have a friend in the diaper world who created a product where she called it a diaper garden, and she would put something like a watermelon, right? So the inside diaper was pink with seeds on the outside, and the cover that went over the top was green and looked like a watermelon shell. They're beautiful. So that product, I mean, I don't even remember what that sold for, but it wasn't something that you would consider an economical price. But there's all these subcultures, and one of them is selling used diapers. But we also have people who reach out to us and say, we have these diapers. Is there anybody else who could use them? I'm done with them. So we've had these people sending them to us, and we have this growing stash of diapers in the warehouse that we can use to reach out to local, needy families as they let us know that they're in need. So Share the Love is about reaching out to those families. Now, we launched that, I guess it was about a month ago, and we launched it with a concept called Share the Love host sites, because we knew that there were a lot of other moms in our community that were interested in reaching out in their own communities. Cotton Babies is only so big, right? We can only do so much. So we decided that we would start Share the Love first for St. Louis, first help the people closest to us, and then enable the moms in other moms in their own communities to help the moms in their communities. So the concept is that as people are done with their diapers, that they would be able to donate them back to a Share the Love host site. That Share the Love host site would be able to interact with local families that are in need Now, we've right now focused the program on moms who are using WIC specifically, so we're not trying to get a bunch of confidential financial information from people. If you have a WIC card, you qualify. And they can bring us their WIC card, and we're going to give them the diapers that they need to diaper their baby for free, no charge. It shows up in a cute little bag. It's exciting. It's got a lot of really neat growth opportunities because there's literally millions and millions and millions and millions of these used diapers all over the United States, all over the world, that could help these families that are in this situation of choosing between diapers and food. It's such a huge issue that's facing our economy, and I don't think it's something that we can not do something about. So that's share the love. So I wanted to also talk about another concept, because share the love is a donation-based idea that has a scope that is limited by the number of diapers that are available within a community. Because as a corporation, I can't afford to finance all the diapers that are needed within our culture. So what I wanted to do was describe to you another concept that I think has much greater potential. This isn't something that I'm going to be able to capitalize on, so I'm actually hoping that somebody in this room or somebody who's watching can capitalize on this concept. Imagine if you had a nonprofit organization that was able to serve as a food resource in a community. Picture Whole Foods. Let's take Whole Foods. What if Whole Foods was nonprofit? And families that needed food, who were still looking for work, they weren't necessarily looking to go work for a grocery store, but families who needed food could go work a 4-hour shift a couple of times a month at this nonprofit, and in exchange for their 4-hour shift, take home the groceries that their family needed for that week. Now, that nonprofit would be functioning to the rest of the world as a for-profit organization where you and I, who can afford to buy our groceries every week, go in and shop there, knowing that because we're shopping in that store, other families who are still looking for jobs are actually able to get the food that they need. Now take that and look at the way food kitchens or food pantries typically operate. In your church, how many of you guys have seen requests for canned food or from school? They come home all the time. We're doing a food drive for such and such a family. This food kitchen is short on food. Please send in your canned food. And you go through your pantry and you find everything that you really don't want to eat, and you put it in a bag and you take it to school, and somebody else gets it in their pantry, right? I think that there's a better way. I think that there's a way that it can be done sustainably, where it can grow not just within one community, but it can grow in communities all over the United States where it's not dependent on donations. There's only so many donations, right? And how many hungry people do we have in this world? We couldn't possibly feed all of the hungry people that we have in this world. I think that this is a concept that could grow across the United States, it could grow across the world, and it could be applied in a bunch of other different categories, whatever it is that's important to you if you're interested in having some kind of a brick and mortar face-to-face type opportunity with your consumers. So I'm going to propose that businesses start to think backwards. Rather than thinking, I have this product, I'm going to take it, I'm going to sell it for a profit, I'm going to use that profit, and I'm going to use that profit to help others. Let's look at a social problem that has to be solved and figure out how those social problems can be solved in a way that is sustainable, allows for growth, allows for easy implementation wherever they are, cross-culturally, actually reaps the results that we're looking for, actually produces enough profit that that organization can sustainably continue to buy and sell and provide, and is repeatable. So this issue of growth and influence in business is one that it weighs heavily on me. I don't believe that as business owners or entrepreneurs that we can only think about what it is that's going to get us to our next step. These are some names that you likely recognize. Rosa Parks, Rachel Carson. Anybody know who she is? Yeah. Mother Teresa. Unless a life is lived for others, it's not worthwhile. I think it's important that we as businesswomen really take that step of thinking through what it's going to take to reimagine capitalism in the United States and in the rest of the world. It isn't new. We've seen Tom's Shoes do an amazing job of providing shoes and now eyewear for people around the world. I think there's other ways of looking at it. I think that as women, we need to look at the issues that stare us in the face every day and figure out how we're gonna solve those issues. I think real change has to be done by enabling those who are in need, enabling them, not necessarily facilitating the need, but enabling them to solve the issues that they're facing. And I really believe that dependency on donations to solve those problems is a recipe for failure as our economy continues to shift and change. There's no way that there can be enough that's built on this narrow foundation to be able to do what needs to happen in our cultures. So here's the challenge that I have for you. I want you to think about how you're building a pathway for others. I want you to think about your legacy. I want you to think about how you're going to be remembered. I don't want to see your life boil down to a PowerPoint presentation at your funeral that people just kind of show up to and there's 35 people in the room and that's that. I want to be able to put your pictures up here with these women because you actually changed your culture. You actually changed the world. And I think that there's enough drive in this room, there's enough drive with the people who are watching online to be able to make a huge impact. Don't settle. Don't settle for being the most popular chick. Don't settle for being the richest person on your block. I think there's a lot more to life, and I think there's a lot more that we can realize together. So with that, if there's still a few minutes, do I have a few minutes? Okay. I'll be glad to take some questions.
Hi, I have a question about business growth. And this came up for me recently. We were talking to our developer and trying to work out some kind of a bartering situation, and her not worth it, but her answer to our suggestion that we barter for different services was, you know what, I don't need to grow my business. I'm happy with my small business. This is the business I wanted. It's small, it's manageable, and it allows me to have the life I want to have. And I feel that so much in the blogosphere or just in business in general is always about making it bigger, 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 growing it, opening a store, having more products, having more partners, being in all different places. And I'm just curious what your take is on being happy with keeping your business the small size you want and considering that success rather than always having to make it, you know, bigger, better, faster, stronger.
Well, we actually have focused on making it bigger, better, faster, stronger. We didn't choose to stay small. We could have chosen to stay small, but I didn't feel like we could, given the consumer response we were having to the products that we had. I really think it's important that as individuals, as individual business owners, that you identify what's important to you and that you stick with those core values. So if that's what makes her happy, is staying small, then she's probably not the right resource maybe for you to help you grow your business to the larger point that you want to see it grow to. Yes.
I am Carol Morgan, the Dream Lady, and what you brought up about cloth diapers is absolutely fascinating to me, because when I brought up my children, that's all we used were cloth diapers. And I love to see the evolution. My father and ex-husband had a laundry and dry cleaners, so I never had to do a dirty diaper. They went with my ex-husband to work.
Every woman's dream come true.
So I want to thank you for bringing something back that was sorely missed. I mean, I know the difference between the cloth diaper where you can control the quality compared to a disposable. So thank you. The next thing I want to say to you is that I want to give you a different viewpoint on missionary. A missionary is not necessarily somebody going to Africa and serving or wherever. It is also a person who lives his or her purpose or mission, and that is a missionary.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Vadoni. I'm with Choose Wiser here. I just wanted to say thank you so much for standing up and being so inspirational. Part of what Choose Wiser's mission is about is empowering the everyday me to make little changes in our lives for our health of our families and for our kids. And you are such an inspiration. And even if the only change people make is using this, it's a step in the right direction for our families and our community and our environment. And I just want to say that I was really inspired today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Well, thank you. I appreciate your attention, and thank you for having me speak.